All right, let's move on to our next vocabulary word, which is to wind up. Now we have to be careful here because wind up is a phrasal verb, and many phrasal verbs have several different definitions. So when you see a phrasal verb that you think you know, it's possible that it's being used in a different way. So in this situation, wind up means finish. It's a common phrasal verb that means other things too, but here we're going to talk about it meaning finish. And again, this is from chapter 7 of David Copperfield. I read that chapter the other day in a video, and I chose to focus on this word as with the other words in this video. And so let's use wind up meaning to finish or begin to finish something. Here is a situation. John wanted to finish the meeting. Now, instead of saying John wanted to finish the meeting, which is fine, we can use wind up. John wanted to wind up the meeting, meaning he wanted to start it ending. By the way, this video is winding up. We only have one more. So this is like the beginning of the end of the video. So John wanted to wind up the meeting, and it means something similar to John wanted to finish the meeting. So let's say John wound up the meeting. That's our sentence. John wound up the meeting. Now let's change this to a passive voice construction. So we have John wound up the meeting. Let's change the focus to the meeting. The meeting was wound up. Wind is an irregular verb, and the past and past participle are wound. The meeting was wound up. Now let's make a how question with that sentence. How? How was the meeting wound up? How did they finish the meeting? Now, when somebody asks you a how question, one of the ways that you probably would want to answer is by using the preposition by plus an ing verb. So, and that will explain the process or explain how. So, how was the meeting wound up? Let's answer with by taking questions. So at the end of the meeting, he said, okay, if you have questions, ask me the questions and then we can finish. So the meeting was wound up by taking questions. The meeting was wound up by taking questions. Let's try another example using wind up, meaning to finish. Here is another situation. It was a very long day at work. Everybody was working hard, and they managed to finish the project. But before they would call the project finished, they wanted to review all of the details to be absolutely sure there were no mistakes or problems. So the very final stage of finishing the project was checking everything. Let's take the sentence, they finished the project, and let's use wind up instead. What is the past of wind? It's irregular. Wound. They wound up. They wound up the project. They wound up the project. Now let's make that into a passive voice sentence. Let's focus on the project and not they. The project was wound up. The project was wound up. Now let's ask a how question. How was the project wound up? Again, let's answer this how question with the preposition by plus an ing verb, by checking, by double checking all of the information. The project was wound up by double checking all of the information. All right. Oh, we are on